This article here is from Newsweek. It says, Kathy Griffin compares Johnny Depp fans to QAnon supporters from March 30th, 2023. And before we move ahead, I gotta say, Kathy Griffin says Johnny Depp looks like Donald Trump with a ponytail. Now, I don't think I've heard anything that silly in a very long time. It's actually so ridiculously wrong, it is almost funny. Not quite, but that's almost like saying 2 plus 2 is 8. Let's see what we got. And by the way, not every topic is totally safe, so I'm just going to say Q. You guys will know what I mean. Kathy Griffin has compared Johnny Depp's fans to Q supporters after the actor's backers stood by him throughout his court battle with ex-wife Amber Heard. So of course, she takes the most politically divisive thing you could possibly find, and she calls Johnny fans that. I know a lot of Johnny fans are liberal and maybe left-leaning, and I think she knows that, and I think it's meant to be insultive as possible to them. Although Kathy herself is left-leaning and liberal, she doesn't care about insulting her own. And they give some details that we've been through 1,000 times, how Depp sued Heard for $50 million, she countersued, that went nowhere. And they mention Adam Waldman. On June 1st, 2022, the jury in Virginia trial found that Heard had defamed Depp and awarded him more than $10 million. Depp, in turn, was ordered to pay $2 million to Heard. Let's read that first part again, just because it's so nice to say, even though we've said it so many times. Virginia trial found that Heard had defamed Depp and awarded him more than $10 million. Never gets old. Let's keep going. Throughout the trial last year, Heard became the focus of countless negative social media posts, with a sizable faction of Depp's fans questioning her allegations of domestic violence. I wonder why. Maybe because she had no evidence of them. Maybe because what she said didn't line up with reality. They make it sound like Depp fans just randomly started saying this stuff and panicked. No, there was years and years of stuff that came out. In turn, Heard won an army of supporters, many of whom said the Aquaman star had been vilified for daring to speak out against a popular actor. They say Depp and Heard both accused each other of allegations of violence, and then they get into the comedian, the hilarious, the, dare I say, beautiful Kathy Griffin. Griffin reiterated her anti-Depp stance this week when she joined a conversation sparked by a Twitter user who said, asking people to name their abusers in a post-Johnny Depp trial world is actually insane. Noting the negative comments the tweet had attracted, NBC News tech and culture reporter Kat Tenbarge weighed in on the matter. Let me try to chime in on Kat for a second. The backlash to tweets like this illustrates that people would rather believe they were right than accept reality, Tenbarge wrote. The reality is, the way that trial was consumed and analyzed by the public hurts victims. If you can't accept that, you don't live in reality. Whoa! I thought the reality was a court case that took 6 weeks in which Amber lost. So that wasn't the reality? I need Kat to teach me what the reality was? I'll stick with the reality of a 6-week trial in front of a 7-person jury, witnessed by billions, in which there was a lot of evidence that showed Amber lied and definitely defamed Johnny. But I don't know, maybe I should check out more of Kat's articles, listen to what she's saying, so I could try to figure out reality. Maybe I'm off base here. The Q vibes intensify when Johnny Depp supporters have to reckon with the very real, very immediate consequences of that trial, which was what? Amber was proved to be an abuser and a defamer and a liar? Okay. Interesting, said Griffin as she joined the conversation from her locked Twitter account. That's good. Locked Twitter account. Sounds good. In her case, of course. It makes sense that JD stans would be Qs, or at least agree with some of the Q nonsense. Q is a killer disease. Well, not going to get political, but I know plenty of people on the right aren't even Q fans, let alone the middle or the left. It's just such a stretched out, pathetic attempt to make an insult impactful. The Suddenly Susan star, whatever that is, then called the discussion around the trial a social media bloodbath and that Me Too is not dead yet. She then launched an attack on Depp, criticizing his appearance and accent. Here we go. I just think Depp is gross. Do you know what I find funny? These Johnny Depp stans that are talking about this trial, and yet they refuse to show pictures of what he looks like now, which is a big, orange, fat, bloated booze bag, which I think is old. But this article here is brand new. Thanks, Newsweek, for the confusion and possible regurgitation. He looks like Donald Trump with a ponytail. And so they keep sticking up for him and being like, Amber's taking down Johnny. He's so gorgeous and dreamy. I'm like, okay, he talks like Kanye West when Kanye had his jaw wired. He has a fake accent like when Madonna turned British. So, who are we kidding here? I don't know, Kathy. When I take a look at you, I don't know who we're kidding. I actually don't think we're kidding anybody. Most people know what's up. Johnny looks really good for his age. If you want to know what audacity is and what it means, there it is right there. I know Kathy's not bragging to be beautiful. That's not something she says is great about herself. But even so, come on. And what's with all the right-wing comparison? It's ridiculous. Johnny's not right-wing. His fan base isn't right-wing. It's projecting who she doesn't like, and she'll slap that onto anyone. So she's really insulting the right and the left. She's insulting the left by calling out Johnny, whose fan base is mixed, as this Q, and insulting the right because they don't want to be associated with it like this. They don't want to be associated with Kathy Griffin and what she thinks. Anyway, as the article says, 3:30:23, but I'm pretty sure they clipped out some old stuff here. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Kathy Griffin funny? Does Johnny Depp look like Donald Trump with a ponytail? I'm not sure what you're going to say. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you subscribe, you'll be subscribed, and that'll be pretty nice. See you next time.